All right, everybody. Oh, looks like the sound is exactly where it's supposed to be today. It's always nice. I'm sure I forgot something else. Contest is running. Bird is fed. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing something. Too much stuff is going right. All right, everybody. So hope everybody is having a good morning. And you guys did well with the absolute craziness from yesterday. Again, that's why I gave you guys so many warnings yesterday. Yeah, Powell can move the markets. Check out these. Look at this movement. Right now, obviously the euro pound 0 in 24 hours because again, Powell has nothing to do with the euro or the pound. But yeah, check this out, man. 109, 122, minus 80, minus 78, and again, look at that Swiss barometer number coming in, and again, forecast was 90, coming in at 110. Yeah, that was getting tanked anyway. Started a little bit early, but again, that one again just got it continued just absolutely smashed down. Dollar CAD 95 down, again, not really surprised there. Aussie dollar up 100, flat and flat. So basically everything out here has something to do with the dollar that moved. The things that didn't have anything to do with the dollar basically did not move. So I bought a Tesla call. Good. Tesla's one of those good things to have. I sold during drop yesterday. Wish I didn't because bought back and lost like 700 in 5 minutes between rebuying. Yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens when you use emotion to do those things. Yeah, I think Tesla's fine. I mean, my opinion, like I said, I don't do too much with stocks anymore. They're just kind of boring, and I think there's easier opportunities elsewhere. But one of the things about Tesla is we're kind of, even the industry, like the energy industry experts are talking about in the next few years, Tesla's already positioned there. So, I mean, not that the company makes great money, but they are positioned in the right sphere, you know? They do, they basically, I mean, they're the leaders. I mean, it's kind of like, imagine like Amazon, like forever ago, right? People are like, yeah, I don't know, this online thing, maybe it works out, right? But they were always positioned kind of in the right place at the right time. And I feel like Tesla's in the same thing. I mean, they're ahead. I mean, he's like, oh yeah, we'll give our technology away, and they're the driving factor. So I mean, it's one of those things that, you know, I just feel like Tesla's always something that would be good. Yeah, I've been fine. Had not been watching. Yeah, had not been watching. Yep, yeah, you fell, Nathan. You fell right into the emotion trap. Yep, it's the emotion trap. Um, yeah, there you go. Learn to watch your emotions. Learn to curb those emotions. All right, guys. So obviously, again, Powell has the power to move the markets. Said it, I don't know, 50 times yesterday. You guys can see how much movement there was. So, one of the other things I wanted to make sure that we talk about, and again, readjust. So I left a lot of the levels on from yesterday. And again, a lot of this was Nadex trading yesterday because again, Powell is a huge person, right? Trading off of a 30-minute level when you have something that, the power of, that guy, the Fed chief, again, they're not going to hold. Again, they were great Nadex trade setups, but in spot currency, they went a little bit farther than some of the zones. And again, you have to expect that. 4 hours were fine. The 30 minutes, again, we had to watch out for. And I don't think I reiterated that enough. Looking back into yesterday, I was like, I should have probably talked about that a bit more. That again, you have to adjust your zones based off the level of, or like the quality of what the news is going to be. Like non-farm, right? We don't want to be messing around with 30-minute, time frames for something like non-farm payroll. It's huge, right? Interest rate change. You don't want to mess with 30 minutes. Something like a Jackson Hole speech by Powell, again, same thing. You don't want to mess around necessarily with the 30-minute time frames because you're typically going to have whip back and forth. The spreads will widen, and you need to go up to the higher time frames. Okay. Now, going into this morning, again, we've already got some interesting news again with the Swiss, and that's 74 in that one is a big move. CAD GDP, again, we can see some kind of tempering with that one, depending on if there's this positive. I'm assuming it will be. It's coming in at 5.2. I wouldn't be surprised if we're a little bit higher than that, like a 5.8, maybe even a 6.1, something like that. The personal spending number and the CPI. I'm sorry, the PCE price index. Those are both pretty important numbers as well. They're not marked as high, but I do feel that, again, being forecast to be more positive, I think that could be pretty beneficial. Now, personal spending, I feel that 1.5 is below what we should be. I feel like the forecast should be a bit higher than that, but also we've recently been we were recently surprised with a more negative consumer sentiment. So again, consumer sentiment, personal spending kind of go hand in hand together. So a little bit nervous about that one. Don't know if that one's going to come in. I don't know. I just feel like they lowballed that one on purpose, but we'll see. Then we have Governor Bailey speaking at 9:05, and again, Bailey also has the power to move the pound, right? So you can see what didn't move, and that is the euro pound and the pound yen. Well, him speaking definitely has the power to bump these two up. Okay, bump these two in many different directions depending on what he says. So 9:05 will be again another one of those big speeches that will have, again, will it affect everything like that? Like pound us? No, but it will affect the pound-based pairs depending on what Bailey says. So again, another thing to kind of keep on your radar this morning. Chicago PMI at 9:45, 10 revised University of Michigan consumer sentiment, and I was concerned about that one. Again, it's revised, so it's like a slight adjustment. It's like, hey, wait a second, we didn't have all the data we guesstimated last time, but here's the real one. So, and then today is day 2. Okay, so today is the day that we will start getting a lot of quotes from people that come out, news reporters, because remember, the media is not allowed in there. The media is not involved, right? But what will happen is when people come out on breaks, that's where people start coming in and talking, right? So that's where we're really going to get, the most information. Okay. And again, it should be interesting. And again, this is kind of going back to, depending on the level of the person, we may get, we get different information, or different quality information. So it's kind of like, I don't know, I feel like there needs to be like a cheat sheet or something like that of, okay, these are the people that you need to listen to, right? For Jackson Hole quotes. But again, it depends on what time they come out, what order they come out, what we've heard before. Some guy that may be like a B-rated actor, if he comes out first, he'll be the first kind of, is this what everybody's going to say type thing? Versus like if we have an A and then we have a bunch of Bs, the Bs won't do anything at all. All right. So it's kind of like who's going to talk first today? The news quote of the morning, just so you guys know, this is one of my favorite all-time news headlines ever. Where is it? Right here. I think that this is awesome. Merkel says we'll repay debt incurred by coronavirus aid by 2058. I'm like, what? I'm like, is that a misprint? Or did she really just say 2058? I'm like, wow, 38 years from now, you will be able to repay it? Wow. Way to go. Yeah, I was just like, wow, nothing like talking about, hey, we'll be able to repay this next century. I'll be dead, and like, it's funny. I mean, I don't know how old Merkel is, but I'm sure she's probably at least in her 60s, maybe even early 70s. I don't think she's super young. I think she's one of the older chiefs, and yeah, I mean, like, that's like 38 years down the road. So even if say she's 60, right? That's 98 years old. I mean, that's kind of, still a little bit above the average, right? So it's like, oof, man, so everybody's just pushing the debt way down the road. And that's assuming nothing else happens for the next 30-something years, right? That will get paid off. But yeah, headline of the morning, hey, we're not going to pay this debt off for 38 years. And people are like, oh, America's failing. It's like, well, Merkel is, she's kind of got some power too. Now, this is interesting, too. The Fed could keep rates near zero for longer, says former Atlanta Fed president. This is something that we've been talking about for a while now. Now, everybody is so worried about inflation. Everybody's printing money. Well, yeah, they are printing money, but at the same time, is low interest rates the new norm? Okay. If you think back to like when my parents were getting houses, I mean, they were getting interest rates up in the 18%, 25%. I mean, they're much, much higher than they are now. We're talking about 3, 2.8, things like that for interest rates on housing. And we're like, oh my God, we got to lock it in while it's low, and people are like, oh, you have a 3.8, you should definitely refinance, get that lower. But I mean, they used to be, I guess it was in the 80s, I didn't have a house in the 80s, but, my parents did, mortgage interest rates were like 18%. So, if everybody, and again, I do think that this low interest rate is going to be what the new norm is, just like bank fees, just like trading commissions, all these things have gotten lower and lower and lower as there's more and more competition out there. So I do feel that rates will stay lower in the long term. And again, we'll see what the kind of, how to control inflation or what inflation, where it's going to go. I mean, it just may be what the new normal is. So, people see this and they're convinced that, gold's going to 8 million, but it depends. It's all relative. If everybody in the world is doing the same thing, you don't have the same level of inflation. You don't need to temper anything, right? Fed's policy, the Fed's policy mistake, buying more inflation will lead to financial instability. So see, it's kind of interesting here, right? Again, a lot of people talking about inflation now, right? You're seeing it here, you're seeing low interest rates again, and you're seeing multiple different things on it. So yeah, it's interesting. And then again, you guys can see that, the PM, not feeling his best, stepping down again. That happens. Hopefully, it's nothing that will cause him to lose his life. I didn't hear what it was. It says due to health concerns, but I don't. Most likely, when you step down for something like this, it's not like a coronavirus thing that can be cured. Most likely, it's probably like, I don't know, probably cancer, something along those lines, that they've been treating. But again, you don't want, it's kind of a very hard situation when you it's like, okay, we have to go into chemotherapy. Next thing you know, the guy comes out, he has no hair and all that, the typical cancer treatment. So hopefully he comes through the other end and is fine and doesn't want to deal with this. So again, it will usher in kind of a new era in Japan. Japan is fine. I mean, again, where they are, they have a pretty well-defined role in the world economy. So not necessarily, not really, going to be things. I like this. Why Americans are looking for a safe haven for the dollar. Whatever. It's whatever. This is an opinion article. So yeah, going into the scanner. So scanner's interesting today, right? Yesterday was kind of totally mixed, right? What do we see today, right? We see the CAD basket is all over the place, right? CAD first, CAD second, CAD first, or CAD second, CAD first, CAD second, and it's all blue, right? So the CAD basket is blue. It doesn't matter if we're in the first position or the second position. So it's kind of funny when that works out that way. It typically won't. It shouldn't. So it's very rare that you see this. But again, we are seeing pound strength, obviously, except versus the Swiss, okay? And again, this one is kind of just, it's kind of weird, right? Especially because I guess it's not weird, right? Swiss had such great data. It's not surprising that is straight down. But over here you see the CAD Swiss is up, which is this the one that kind of like, what? Why is the CAD Swiss up? Aussie basket, pretty much what you would expect. The Swiss down, yen down. They're doing fine. Euro, for the most part, is kind of sideways biased up, right? I mean, it's going sideways, upward bias, pulling back on the 30 minutes. So again, not quite setups there on the 4 hour, but there will probably be some likely setups. Again, they'll probably listen to what Bailey says, and then the euro will be out for the day. I think that'll be more of a play for next week. And then all the majors right now, again, for the most part, you're seeing dollar weakness. Again, that's continuing more or less from yesterday. I mean, it still we haven't had kind of the retrace. I would expect we'll see some type of retraces today. I know we're seeing it in some of the yen-based pairs, but again, yesterday was a pretty sharp drive up. Now that all the reactionary movement is in, this is when we start to see a lot of the retraces. And again, we need to use higher time frames for it. So again, maybe a little bit flat, maybe a little bit of pullback today. But what I'm doing is I'm looking into next week to see if we can get some strength kind of pulling back in for the dollar. And I think that's probably what will be the case. I find it very hard that the rest, and again, it's not even like we're driving it there. I feel like the rest of the world are not going to want necessarily the weakest of dollars. Because again, what it does is it puts the United States in an advantageous position, particularly for exports, right? It's great. It's great in the sense when it's a cheap dollar that people that are buying from us can buy more, but it also means that we're not going to buy as much from other countries, right? We're not going to buy as much from other countries, and that hurts a couple nations out there that are, Oh, the other thing too is when we have a very weak dollar. What does that do to our level of debt? Like a lot of people don't think about this a lot of times. Like, who holds most of our debt, right? If the dollar is really not worth much because it's so weak, how much is our debt really worth? Nothing, right? Not really a whole lot, right? So if we have hyperinflation, all of a sudden, all this debt that we have is like 1/3 of what it used to be. So it's a way for us to reduce debt by creating hyperinflation. It also makes people want to buy a whole lot of stuff from the U.S. Okay, so that's where we are scanner-wise. More people can invest 400 rather than 2,000. Yeah, I mean, that's great thinking, but it doesn't really help anything in the stock. That's something that Kramer's very big in, too. He's like, oh, well, we can get more players. But, Nathan, the thing about that is now, when you can buy partial shares, it really doesn't matter that it's $400 and more people can invest. Because you can buy a partial share and get the same exact benefits than creating more stock splits. So a stock split is basically a relic of the past. It's no longer needed. It has the only purpose it has right now is if you need to reprice your Because again, in the indices and things like that, like some of the big kind of ETFs and obviously the different exchanges, you need to have things within a certain price, and when you split them, it does mess that up and does mess the weightings up. So sometimes, like again, you don't want to put like $1,000 stock over in the Dow suddenly, right? It will mess it up. So you need to bring it back into those ranges. That is the only purpose cheaper stocks have. That's it, right? Because every single person can buy fractional shares now. So no more people could invest in it than people could yesterday by having it be a lower price. That's a complete fallacy that, certain people out there are like, oh no, it's great. We have more at-home players. At-home players can do it right now. Okay. No more people have access to it when it's, if they split it down to $20, nobody else will have more access to it than they could have yesterday because of fractional share buying. Okay. It's kind of a big myth in the market that, make it lower, stock split so more people can buy it. Nope. You can buy it right now, get the same benefits. And if you weren't getting the same benefits, you have no business being in the markets because you don't understand what's going on. Okay. Fractional shares are everywhere, and they have been for a couple of years. All right, let's go dive over into charts. So we will start with the Aussie dollar. And again, on the 30-minute, again, we'll drop it down to 30-minute or at least we'll drop it down to the hourly. Okay, you can see kind of what the crazy movement was. So remember, we had levels up here at the 26.67 level, kind of right in here, right? We're talking about this level. Obviously, price was able to spike above and go back down again. Now, it is funny that this wick over wick did hold on the bottom side, but this is what we had talked about with those binaries. And I mentioned, hey, listen, if we can get up into the 26.67 region, look for some out-of-the-money binaries. Again, we are going to have crazy splits. And again, this is one of the benefits of options, particularly binaries as well, right? So if we had a zone stuck in right here, which we did, had you taken this in the spot currency land, not only would you have had to deal with a larger spread, but as it spiked through the top, you would have lost money, right? But if you had put a Nadex contract on, again, a binary, really any type of option, right, that cannot be stopped out right there, what would have happened? Sure, it was at a negative, whatever you got into it at that point, but then within, the next hour, when it collapsed and dropped, 50 pips, what happened? You didn't have to worry about a stop loss. It went all the way and, again, came down to where a full profit target should have been, okay? So, again, that's why I mentioned on things like Powell speaking, interest rates, even non-farm, you have to make sure that you have the right asset vehicle to be able to trade it. And in this case, something like an option contract, again, whether it be a binary or traditional option, that's the best way to play these crazy movements because you don't have to worry about a stop loss. You use an out of the money. And again, had it gone all the way up here, whatever, doesn't matter. You would have lost just a very, very small amount, right? That's why we use a little bit farther out of the money. Using a 2-hour as well, the strike differential is very, very small. This is like 7-8 strikes to the downside. So, would we have hit here? Yep, absolutely. All the way down, grab the zone, and then boom, it was off to the races for the rest of the day. So trying to figure out what we do now is really what's most important, though. So let's bring this back up to a 4-hour level and see what we have, okay? We do have a 4-hour level, and again, it's up here. This one has been marked off for a while, here and here, okay? So where this is at, I think it's in a pretty interesting position. So price right now is at 73.45, okay? Dropping it down to an hourly, you can see we're pretty close up there, right? I just wanted to adjust. There we go. We're pretty close to that zone. So, again, core pricing, maybe we can get a little bit bump into there. I would say that I wish it was like Monday or Tuesday because I think this would have been a great kind of longer weekly play on this one. But I do think it is set up. We've had such movement in one day. I mean, really, at this point, Powell's already spoken. He's already kind of put the hammer down for what they wanted to say. If somebody agrees and says the same exact thing that Powell said, right? Same exact kind of language. Is this suddenly going to blow up another 500 points? Answer is no, right? Because Powell has already spoken. But, again, because that's what the expectation is, they're going to say something that's in line with what he said. If people start discussing details that are on the opposite side, could that provide a catalyst for a retracement? And the answer is yes, okay? So unless Powell comes out and says something even more severe to drive this higher, to lower the dollar even more, right? Things are kind of setting up. Now, are they there? Are they perfect? No, not necessarily. But again, there are numerous times throughout the day today we will see things that will kind of adjust this around. So on an hourly basis, this is a bit big of a zone here. I mean, you're talking about 40 pips. I don't know if we can actually see... Let's see, can we see those two? I'm not sure I can see that one on this chart. No, No, we can't go far enough back and see that one. So that's kind of the one limitation here. So we really can't see what we end. So here's how we play this one, okay? And we can do this on the 30-minute or the hourly. And we'll readjust this one. Let me make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right, so this one is going to be hard to grab today based off of within a 2-hour binary, because it's not like people say, hey, I'm going to come out and I'm going to give you a quote at 11:43. It doesn't work like that. They come out of their meetings during breaks and things like that. So it's going to be harder to grab, okay? What we're looking for on a technical level is we're looking for kind of a top to put in, a bit of a push down, and then that failure to go higher kind of, that pattern, right? That push up, something along the lines of, let's see, I'll find one for you. Like this, right? We pushed higher, we dropped down, we kind of base below, and then what it does is it establishes us, gives us a level like this, right? So this is what we are looking for. I'll do it white so you guys can see it. Something along this line, right? A push up, a drop, a kind of base below there, and then we're looking for a little bit of a retest and punch forward, okay? So that's the pattern we're looking for to get this thing short, especially once it gets inside of this zone. Now, if you do want to take it in binary land, you could, probably take, I guess you could probably take a 9 to 11 2-hour. Again, there probably will be a quote in there. I don't know if it'll be the reversal quote. That may be later in the day once, again, they are starting to wrap up. But again, I do feel like there's going to be some type of a short, some type of a retracement. For next week, I'm kind of targeting kind of this area here. I'm looking for this to kind of roll over. Again, just way too much movement, way too fast based off of this. And again, justifiable movement. Excuse me, but I do think we will kind of pull back down to where the original move was. Again, Aussie is in a kind of a precarious situation. It doesn't necessarily need to be this high, and it's run into a bunch of things at this point. So again, I'll be looking to roll it over. Now, this guy I mentioned yesterday we had two different zones. Now you see we did have kind of that first hit and it did pull back again. And again, these were 4-hour zones. And I mentioned yesterday, the biggest concern that I had with the 77.17 was the proximity to the level. If you remember me mentioning this, it was pretty close for a spike, right? Now we're here right now. Right, we're here right now, and it reads 5 at the bottom because of the timing. We were sitting right here yesterday. And that's what I said. We're sitting right here. I don't know if this holds or not. And we were talking about hitting the level and confirming to the downside. You guys remember talking about the red, green, reds? We punched up into it and we based. Okay. That's typically, and again, at the very, very top, that's the telltale sign that it's most likely going to break. Okay. What did we do? We ran right up to the 77.90 and then we pulled back. And this was a nice little pullback. I mean, this was about 85 pips to the downside. Okay. Again, once the news was all in here, that's where we start looking for the setup. And again, it needed to punch a bit higher. Bam, we got it in there. Now, again, that level came in at approximately about midnight. Midnight is when that Aussie ended up entering its position, right? So again, not a bad play to the downside. And even on the 30-minute, you guys can see that we had a bit of a Harry Potter right here. I don't know if anybody caught this one or not, but right here. Right? There's your Harry Potter. Here was the zone. What did it do? It broke above. It based in one candle. It pulled back. And again, I'll draw it because this is pretty easy, right? Here, here, here. You guys see the triangle? Right there. Again, my points are, it's on the candles, but you guys can see it. Again, there, and there. There's your Harry Potter trade, right? On the 30-minute. Okay, this triggered at about, last night, about 10 o'clock. Okay. Again, it drove into the level. It based sideways, showing us that, hey, listen, we got people in here. Once it breaks up, those old sellers become buyers. Pull back, boom, all the way up. And again, what did it do? Your target would have had to have been here, out. Now, off that 4-hour, though, being in at the extreme level to 4-hour, you got to take that one short. Okay. Again, it barely touched. It came back over. And even the way that it touched, you guys can see that it really kind of came up, right? It came up here and started to slow. It based and then pulled back and basically gave us that entry going, yep. And when it paused there, you have to get short. And even just to the other level, that was, 55 pips in an hour and a half. Nice little setup. Okay. And again, you can see it already retracing all the way back down again. Okay. So this is kind of what we mentioned. Again, I do think we will get lower. I think, I'm pretty confident that levels will come back down into here as well. Again, we got to blow through this level first, though. But again, I do think we will come back down into this 76.59 range. But again, if you grab that Harry Potter, again, we mention this thing all the time. There was your punch through the level, grab and go. Okay. Euro yen. Euro yen also went off of that 4-hour zone. Again, this was the 26.36 that we mentioned, and we've been mentioning this one for a while. It's been, a week, 2 weeks here. And as you can see, we're close to the 1 to 3. This is probably the 25.27 is an area that we talked about taking profit in. You can see that it is in a level right now. So yeah, kind of did the same thing, right? Went up, and again, this is kind of giving us that same pattern. It punched, it went a little bit lower, it pulled back. So the ideal place to do this would have been the break of the green candle. Once we kind of broke through to the downside, it hammered. And what did it do? It stopped here, right? This is where it should have. This should have been one profit target from the original short, and profit target 2 would have been down here at really kind of about where we're at right now. 25 is kind of all the way back. I think it'll hit there, but that was kind of more dealing with this kind of retracement that we talked about before. So again, huge movement up because of POW, and then obviously huge movement back down again, retracing that full emotional response. And again, here is that pattern. In case you guys wanted to see it again, I will pull, let's see, back test out there. There you go, right? There's the punch up, there's the base, and there's the retest, okay? Again, that's exactly what you're looking for. Punch up, pull back, base, retest, and collapse. Okay. All right. Boom. There we go. Bring that back up to the higher time frame. All right. Go across the pound yen. Pound yen. Look at that. Same thing. Now, pound yen, unfortunately, is a bit higher. We had levels, and I don't think did we have one there? No, we just had this one here that, again, we've hit multiple times. Right there. We hit this once, twice, 3 times, based in it a 4th time, finally punched through. This one, unfortunately, didn't really have as clean of an area to the top side. And you can see it really needed to punch higher. It got stuck here. I wouldn't have used that one. So this was a much harder one to be able to kind of grab. Lower time frame, you can see, kind of did the same thing. Didn't really give us the pullback, unfortunately, to get entered. But same idea. Huge punch up. And here you go. Huge punch up. There's one level of profit. And again, your next level of profit would have been in here where these, again, buyers kept stepping in, dropped in, buy, dropped in, buy, dropped in, buy, dropped in, buy, dropped in, buy. So there are your 2 profit targets. And you can see stalled here, stalled here. So again, a lot of people ask, how do I pick profit targets? How do I know when to get out of my trades? Well, there you go. Right? Look for the large explosive bits of movement. It shows you where buyers and sellers are. Okay. Either of those 2 is fine. Unfortunately, this one did not give us the great failure to go higher. It just gave us a straight reversal, and it really wasn't off anything, even on a 4-hour here. I don't even think we're in, I'm pretty sure we're not even in a level here. When I looked at this yesterday, I was like, yeah, small one, right? So, again, there's this on the 4-hour, and that's kind of where it turned. So, it wasn't one that I had on my radar. It's there. But, again, I was already done, clean. Like I said, it is what it is. Okay. No, unfortunately, with no reversal, that's the problem. With no clean kind of pullback. And that would have triggered about midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. You guys know I'm definitely not up at 1 o'clock in the morning. Child went to, oh, yeah, by the way, so you guys will laugh at this. So I wanted to go out yesterday and just shoot around with the boys for a bit. It was an off night. We didn't have practice. So I told everybody, I was like, hey, listen, we're going to go out, get some extra work in. I need to get some work in because I have a game on Sunday. Because I don't really get to shoot too often because I'm a face-off guy. It was crazy. So I decided at the end the boys had too much energy, so I was going to make them run all the way around the field. So we start running, and this is we're talking 2 football fields, right? We're going to go around. The baby, who's only 2 years old, starts chasing us, and she made it about 3/4 of the way. She did about half, and I was like, she's 2. I told my wife, I'm like, she's going to sleep good tonight. She was out by 9:05. And normally my daughter's up till 11. But and even then we're fighting her. 9:05, she was in bed 3 minutes, out, unconscious. So my wife's like, she's going to run every day. I'm like, she's 2. We can't have her running football field side stuff at 2 years old. I feel like child services will get called on us. But she may be a runner by the time she's 4. And I hate running. But anyway, guys, you can see where this one, turned. There was so much movement. Again, I don't claim to catch every single opportunity out there. If you guys got this one, great. Wonderful level off of it. I was sleeping, didn't catch this one. Okay. The dollar. All right, so dollar. Let's drop this one up to larger time frames as well. So we had a level sitting up here. And again, this is a level that's been hit, and we kind of talked about it as well. I will drop it down on this time frame. We will go ahead and we had it marked off, but the zone is, wait, where did it? It should be there. You know what? Let me backtrack it. I know why. Oh, hold on. That's why I'm like, wait, I'm clicking it, but it's not working. Yeah, so here's the zone. From here to here. And those are the ones we marked off. Now, remember we said we had a small one here and we had a small one up top. Again, more aggressive, more conservative. Another example of how a binary would have worked here. Okay. So again, we knew we had a zone there. And what did price do during this Powell speech, right? It shot all the way up and then shot all the way down inside of a 2-hour period. So we had to look at this one and say, hey, listen, if we had gotten into this aggressive one, could we have gotten in? And yes, it came all the way back down, well beyond the 1-to-5 risk to reward ratio. Okay, this one had movement of 82 pips inside of that 2-hour window. Okay, 82 pips inside of that 2-hour window. And it was very easy to target when he was going to speak. We knew that, right? And it needed time to come up. So you had actually time to get into this position. Okay, that is a huge amount of movement in 2-hour period of time. Now, had you have taken this as spot currency, would you have been able to maintain this trade without taking, going quite negative? The answer is no. Right? Because had we used the 2347, I'm sorry, the 2341, it would have against us 40 pips. Had we used the upper level, it still would have won against us about 30 pips. Nobody likes going down 30 pips in a trade. Had you got into that out of the money binary, you're already down when you start, right? It went up. So what? We didn't lose any more. And then bam, full profit target in 1 hour. Actually, less than an hour is how it would have worked out. Okay. Again, time and a place for everything. So this is a perfect example where had you tried to tag this with, forex or futures or anything that, was not, derivative based or options based, you would have lost. Had you done it with options, great trade setup, especially with the way that this spiked up, ran right into zones. And again, this is the dotted is a 4-hour, where the white is a 4-hour zone. So we knew that there was going to be something up in that area. Now, it did breach it with, with all the drama and came back down again. So you expected to kind of collapse, right? You expected to kind of disappear at that point. So now, kind of what do we do with it now, right? We know that we're on the top side. And by the way, I don't know if you saw this or not, but this is where we had the entry when we were looking for that kind of, if we could spike in. And again, here's entry, here's stop, guys. What did I say? That's where we're looking to get in, but I would have done it with a binary. Okay. Well, what happened on the other side of that? It punched above, it pulled back, and did the same Harry Potter trade extension to the top side. So again, many opportunities over the last 24 hours. Okay, but there was our binary setup. Here is our forex setup in the other direction. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, again, going on the 4-hour, we kind of got to see where price is and where, what type of opportunities. Right now, in the the indicator is not showing anything because it's a bit too far back. But we know the price kind of peaked here. All right, so we can use this and go back. I'm not sure why we have those. It's kind of a shadow of something else. All right, so this is what we ran into. Okay, is there a zone here? And the answer is yes. Right, you have the sawtooth effect. You have the wicks coming lower, 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 lower. Love that little triangle effect. So again, valid level for a turn. Yeah, I'd say so. Okay, where is the next high quality one? Here. Okay, would be up here on the 4-hour. Okay, not a bad turn, right? Let's see where we are going right now. Yeah, we're kind of bouncing right off that thing right now. So the way that I would manage, I don't know why it ghosts like this. It's funny. This is all down here, but it ghosted up there. So I'm going to keep this on our radar. Again, this is a 4-hour zone, so that's one we definitely want to watch out for. Let's see. Let me see. Can we go back and dial that zone in a bit more? Let's see if let's do this. Let's see if I can go hourly. Yes. Okay, cool. All right. I guess I'll use this one. Technically, I should use the whole thing, but we're going to put it here. We're going to put it here. We're going to slide this up a little bit. That is fine. And really, there's 2 levels here, unfortunately, but we'll go with that one. All right, so that's what we're looking for. All right, so we know we have a level that is refined down to 33.33. Again, obviously, this is out at this point. Let's see. Bailey is speaking. We got 47 pips. I don't know that Bailey would be able to punch over that. So we're going to leave that there and see if we can pull that in. 1, 2, 3. That one broke at 4. We're going to delete. Ooh, not that. Yep. All right. We'll just bring this across, and we'll just use it here as a kind of warning area. All right, so that's what we're kind of looking for the dollar, for the yen. Obviously, the news just came out. Let's see. Oh, I was off by a little bit. Remember I said like a 6.1, 6.2? It was 6.5. I was off slightly. So again, we have U.S. mixed numbers. The core pricing being down 0.3. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Personal spending is up. So like I said, I felt as I mentioned, guys, I felt like this was a little bit low. That they were kind of cherry picking the number a little bit. 1.9 again is probably I think 2.1, 2.3 is probably what I had assumed realistically, but I did think 1.5 was low. So again, that should help a little bit this morning, kind of retrace back some of these things in the dollar. We're probably, and actually you're kind of seeing it already. Some of these kind of drop back down again. But yeah, that should help the dollar again. This one tempers it just a little bit. So the next release is going to be that 905 number, which will be Bailey, and that will really kind of jack around. Obviously the dollar. Yeah, as you're seeing the dollar pull back already. Yeah, you're seeing red there. Those are stable. Okay. All right. So euro pound. So euro pound. Euro pound is just stuck at this level. Okay, we're still waiting to get short. We have not gotten an entry for it yet. Again, we have not gotten a break below the 89.23. Bailey speaking does have the power to kind of move this around. Okay. Typically, though, we don't get as many retraces with a speech. It kind of goes in one direction. We're riding on top of this thing. Obviously, the buyers are very into this level. We need this to kind of we need it to leave, right? Again, fully retraced, done nothing for over a day right now. It's moved 5 pips down in 24 hours. Again, that was a little bit of a rally up and a little bit down. Hopefully, Bailey punches through, and that gets us to where we need to go. On a technical basis, you could say, hey, listen, we're low in the curve. We're sitting in zone. We have news coming in. Shouldn't we go long? And in most cases, I would say yes. Right? In most cases, I would say yes. But due to the fact that, it's been on this level, it's been grinding into this level. There's only a limited number of people that could be buying it at that range, and we have Governor Bailey speaking at 9:05, which is like end of the day for them. This is it for them. I'd be a bit more cautious with it. Again, I'm looking for this breakout to the downside. If he says something that punches us lower, which shows us, strength. Again, look for a retrace and look for continuation. Again, targets would be down here at 88.92, right? It's levels that I'm not going to go through it again, but this is levels we've talked about all week. 88.91 is what you're looking for, about a 40 pip drop to the downside. Again, punch through 32, pull back up, take your entry, and drop. Euro dollar. So euro dollar. So yeah, look at this craziness right here. So again, we were looking for this level to fail, right? And we assumed it would fail. Again, it's been hit 1, 2, 3, 4, and then boom, it failed. Okay. And we mentioned it yesterday, guys, that we expected this to fail, that this was number 4, that next time 5 would almost definitely fail. And it did. It did punch higher. Okay, so on an hourly basis, you can see, again, we had that wick over wick up here that we were talking about right here that we're looking for shorts in. Okay, again, we mentioned that this is an Nadex-based trade because, again, we don't know how much it could whip. Okay, kind of the same idea. Now, price did come up and it did grab this little zone here, which is kind of a funky zone. It's a zone, but it's a little bit funky. Again, I would have been looking for kind of the retracement. Now, this would have scared a lot of people because it would have went against you about 55 pips, right? But what it did was it ended up going down 80 pips in less than 2 hours. So again, here was our entry. Would the 1180, 1865 been a better one? Sure, absolutely, if we kind of came up, right? Because we expected this to fail. And I remember yesterday talking about, hey, listen, this is probably better at this point. This one is going to fail. But that's the zone that we've held through 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, 5 should break. So had you got into this, the worst case scenario, you were down 38. Had it been an options contract, who cares? Don't get stopped out. Doesn't matter. And then again, from this candle here, this big red, down to the next big red, from that entry is 104 pips. Okay, 104 pips. The 2-hour binary, again, 4 pip strike differential in that one. That's a lot. It's a lot to the downside. So again, that's why these major releases like this, when you have this much movement, you use options contracts. Okay, I know I've said this multiple times. Hopefully, you guys have, you guys get it. Okay. So where we are now, again, for me on this one, I'd really like this to push higher. I'm afraid it's going to turn and roll on us before we can get up there, though. As you can see, again, we have kind of this double top here, and people will see this and say, oh, I know double tops. I definitely know double tops. I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to say, okay, listen, there's our double. There's my profit target. Bam, I'm going. And I get it. Many people will do that as soon as we break the neck here, right? So that's kind of the play. I wouldn't be surprised if it comes down to about here and then pops. This is kind of a decent level, but all your technical, chart pattern people will be jumping all over this one today. I'd like it at 1936. I'd like to get a push back up to there. I think that's great. I'm kind of hoping today that's where we rally up to. I'd like to take that on Sunday night when the market opens. If we can get a pop into that zone, it's not only a 30-minute, it does overlay with an hour, and I believe there's a 4-hour zone there as well. I think that's a great option to be able to take this pair short for a reversal in the dollar next week. I do think we are due for that reversal. Again, ending the week bad now. Next week, we tend to retrace a little bit and kind of temper things back again, right? So that's what I'm looking for. But don't be surprised if this one, hits this level and starts to kind of, trust me, people are looking at this and they're like, oh, I know this pattern, double top right here. Woo! Taking it short, right? Textbook, right? That's what they're looking for, all right? Dollar CAD. So dollar CAD just had better than expected data. Again, continue to see this one grinding. We are down now to the 30.67. As you can see, it's already kind of hit it and kind of popped back again. I do think we are in for some type of reversal here. And again, you guys can see the level that we're in. It's a bit deep. We're kind of already starting to stall at the top. When the dollar gets strength back again, it will kind of roll this pair over. Chicago PMI may help. This could be a speech play today. This is probably the best place we're at, but I am going to start getting more bullish and looking for more bullish positions here. And again, on the daily, you guys can see we are pushed all the way back down again. I guess I could delete some of these. I don't necessarily need all these right now. We can clean some of this up a bit, just to kind of keep it, drop it down to a 4-hour. We can take that bottom off. We can take that off. We don't need that anymore. There you go. There's your 4-hour. But you can see we have the 4-hour here. The daily starts right below it. So there's a lot of buyers in here. It's about finding the correct opportunity to go long more than anything else. If for some reason we can get a spike up, though, there is a couple levels. I mean, again, minor levels inside of here on the hourly. You'll see them. That there are potential places to get short again if we can pop. But like I said, I'm kind of rolling over. I'm probably not going to trade this one today regardless. I'm going to look for this one to, again, play into that dollar kind of strength next week or dollar reversal a bit and take a bounce off of this one on Sunday night. But right now, I'm not going to set anything up on dollar CAD today. Dollar Swiss, obviously down. We've had great economic barometer. Mentioned it yesterday that we don't really get Swiss news much. You guys can see, again, here is that zone that we had talked about yesterday. The 91.19. Here's the craziness. And what did the craziness do? Go all the way down, touch the level, and again, came all the way and blasted through again. So again, Swiss was a great setup also. It's something that we've been waiting for. And again, front run held during the craziness. Actually, I guess the craziness was here. Right here was the first bit of craziness, 80 pips down. Then we tagged it, and right now we're on a run about 94 pips down. And where did it hit? Well, right down in here, it tagged the 1 to 5 target. It tagged the hourly kind of demand zone. So you should be out, okay? Just like the CAD, this one I feel that we are due for a reversal as well. Again, that will probably come in maybe today a bit, but I think it's more of going to be a story of next week. Coming back in. Like I said, dollar strength coming back in. We've absorbed all the Swiss great economic barometer, like lovely, but now we're hitting, larger levels. There's your 4-hour as well. You guys can see that it's a decent level. Last time it was here, it had quite an explosion out. I expect to see something similar there as well. Pull that over there so I can use those later. But same idea. But there was our zone from yesterday. Again, nice collapse through that one. All right, the yen. Yen finally gave us some movement. And you guys can see, here's the 4-hour levels on that one. We talked about the 106.65. We really needed to break that one. We had bounced off of that one before, and we did. We came up and we based in that same level. Ideally, you want higher, right? And that's where we got right here. And there was a response off of it. So, again, we finally got up there. It just took us forever to get there. Now what have we done? We've retraced from the 106.90 all the way back down to the 105.27. And again, those are, that's an area we've marked off. It's been here for a while. We've had this This has been here, guys. I haven't touched this one whatsoever. But you can see the takeoff point from 105.72 was pretty interesting that it did come and grab that level, pulled up, and did what it's supposed to do, right? This was an enormous move. This was 170 pips in basically the last 20. Let's see, last 12 hours. That's 8 to in the last 8 hours, been straight down. So again, not much to say about this. I mean, it's bouncing off the two levels that we had talked about, right? Those are the levels that we've been mentioning every single day. Talking about being high on the curve. You want to grab this one. Now, did I expect this move to happen in 8 hours? No, this is a lot faster than I thought. I thought this would be a grinder all day today, that we'd go up and we'd end up just rolling over and, have to decide whether we would take it into the weekend and then complete it on Sunday maybe. It happened fast. And again, this market has the ability to do that. So right now, again, we are on the downside. You guys are seeing that it's having some problems. I do look at this one right now as a reversal candidate. This happened, again, here's the initial response. There was a reverse, but this is just such a fast movement in such a quick period of time. I would expect this to retrace back up again. How far it moves today, not sure. But again, there are opportunities in this one coming off the 105.22 range. I mean, even just as a simple piece right there. No, not that one. I forgot when we overlay. That's what it does. But right there, the 105.62 is most likely the top side target. And things that can mess us up is the Chicago PMI number, reverse number, or any of the quotes. Like I said, this was the play in the overnight. If you got this one, you're pretty much done for the day. There's no reason for you to trade anymore if you caught this 107, right? Just amazing trade to the downside. NQ. So look at this. NQ, what did it do? It didn't move. It didn't give us the entry. We never got the pop above and pullback, right? We did a spike up, spike down, and we just based. But I'll bring this to the 30 and hourly. What do we have here, right? And I'll move this Harry Potter back a bit just so you guys can see it, right? And again, we'll probably move it. Again, we never got the reason why it wasn't valid here. Here's on the 30-minute. Did we ever get a clearance, a base, and a pullback? The answer is no. We never got the clearance. It stayed at that same range and never pulled back. Again, which invalidates that strategy. That's not what it is. Remember, it's a breakthrough, a base, and a pullback. Okay, so what we will do now is we'll use the hourly. We'll move this over to this level as our next way to kind of punch through. And you can see where we're at for the next punch through. Now, since that time, again, we had a nice drop off of this one. I would say that there's a short play in this one to the downside today. Again, this would have been a great overnight short. I would have been fully in for that one. Like I said, this had great movement off of this back down. And where did it hit? Right where we kind of talked about an area where it would most likely have some issues. So not bad. I would say right now on a technical level as well, still looking for a short. I do think that the NQ can go higher. Any mention of stimulus, more money, creating a great environment. Even things like personal spending being higher, right? 1.9 versus 1.5. That is better. People are spending money. That's great earnings. So I do think, again, we still have the ability to punch higher, get into it in a smart way. Punch it through, base, wait for the pullback, and then punch higher. And again, that this entry on this one is kind of right around 1250, right? 120.50, one-ish. Again, I think is a viable area for this one to go long. Okay, S&P. Kind of the same idea. Now, this one kind of did pop up and down. This one sort of gave us the entry. And again, unfortunately, it did pop back down again before going to its full profit target. A little bit harder to see right here on the 30-minute. You can see we did get the space, but then immediately pulled back and kind of gave us kind of a second entry, right? Entry one. Here, let me stretch this out. Entry one here, many people would have got in. And yes, it would have cost us. The strategy is not perfect. There's no such thing as a perfect strategy. I've shown 3 or 4 of them already that have worked. Here's one that didn't work. But the second time it went through, it worked and went right up to its profit target. Okay, so this one would have been a 50-50. You would have lost 1, made 3. You're still up +2 had you followed this strategy. Okay, so where we are now, the question is, do we have another one in there? And unfortunately, the way that the zones are formed up top, I would not extend this forward. I don't really think that this is as clean of a rollover or a turnaround. We could kind of force it, but it didn't really give us the. Again, I don't want to use that little tiny level there. It doesn't necessarily work for me, right? For those of you that are wondering, here is number 2. For any of you guys that are lost, here's the loss. There's our loss there. Oops. So you lost 1. You lost 1 there, and then on the re-enter, you made 3, but again, minus this, you're +2 on the Harry Potter strategy on this one. All right, but I don't like anything on the top side. So unfortunately, I don't have much that I can do with this one right now. Probably wouldn't take another Harry Potter off this one. I would say that I do feel like I feel like the market needs to go higher today, but I don't have a nice extension target. Just purely looking at this, again, it has rolled over. We do have a trend line up top. It does look like it wants to roll over. I don't really have a great buying area. I mean, I guess if I wanted to kind of put something in, I guess I could say there's a level of basing here that's been tested. So, watch this. If we can get down to this level here at 3470 at, I don't know, maybe around 10, maybe 1030, something like that. I mean, if there's a quote in that level, it could be a level that we bounce out of. Sure. It could be a level that we bounce out of. But I think at this point, purely based off what the candles look like, it looks like it wants to run down to that level right now. So we don't have another Harry Potter entry into this one to the top side. Looking at the Dow. So the Dow actually did better. It ended up punching higher, right? Again, went up, went down. Kind of a bit funky, right? Did the same thing. I wouldn't say that the Dow is really in the best spot. We had 27,470 on the top. And again, based off the speech yesterday, it did punch through. Again, this was a small level, pulled back down, and then kind of just stabilized itself. So I don't know. I don't really like this one for an extension either. And you guys wondering what the green line is? The green line was formed off of the gap. I think we actually did it on hourly. Yeah, it's off of the gap level right here. Okay, we had marked off this. This gap right here. Right there. So you guys can see what we're sitting. So I would say also, again, on a technical based level, the Dow looks like it also wants to go down. It is having some problems. I do feel that the fact that the personal spending was positive, I do think it'll a little, when retail traders step in and get that news, I feel like there will be a pop out of that. It's hard to sway that one in any other way. So it should go higher. All-time highs in the Dow today? No, I don't think so. But it looks like that would be a good area to pop. And again, any of the quotes today about stabilizing the economy and good things like that should give this more oomph to the top side. So of the three indices, really the one I like the most is the NQ. I think if it bursts through that level, it's a valid entry on a Harry Potter. The S&P, not so much. Dow is kind of like, it's kind of in his zone right now. It's got a gap to overtake. I think it's just going to be a little bit harder to play today. And I think this one is really going to be at the mercy of any of those quotes, which two things. One, we don't know when the quote's going to be, and we don't know what there's no forecast for the quote. So it's purely a reactionary trade after the fact. That's why I have to say, I feel like it's more to the down. Gold. Look at this. Gold. What happened? It's not at all-time highs anymore. Look at this. Holy crap. Inflation. Boom. Wait, no. Boom. Back down again. So gold, guys, it's funny. Here's where we are right now at 8:30. We look back to yesterday. We're sitting right here, right? We're a little tiny bit higher, but not that much, right? Here's the hourly. We talked about before being up in this zone here, saying that, hey, listen, it's a big zone. Got to watch out for it. But what did it run to? So same scenario. Could you have placed, and again, you guys can see where I have this 1964. Could you have looked for a 2-hour out of the money binary? Because again, out of the money has lower risk at that 1964 level. What would have happened? Again, these are hourly candles. In 2 hours, we went from 1964 all the way down to 1909. So we dropped over $50 in the price of gold in 2 hours. I'm going to pull it up right now. Let me see. I will pull a Nadex contract because I don't trade this one as much over there. Oh, God, I hate the new platform. Oh, God, this drives me nuts. Commodities, 9 to 11. So you're looking at a strike differential of 3, right? So a strike differential of 3. You guys can do the math. This dropped from 64 all the way down to 9. So let's just call it $50, even though it is more than that, right? If the strike differential is 3, how many strike prices did it move to the downside? Now, the funny thing is, there's only, between the 9 to 11, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are only 9 of them listed. Right? They are in a $20 range. Like right now, the 2-hour The 9 to 11s go from 1967 to 1952. So when this spiked up, do you think some of them, even just back here, right, from 1964 down to 39, $30. When it's up here, do you think the guys down here would have been basically $2-3? They would have been cheap as anything. And what happened? You could have got them for $2-3, and they came down and closed down here well beyond. Like here, I'll show you. So check this out. So they have a, what did I say, $20 range, 70, basically 75 to, so less than $25. So we're looking at here, right about there. There's the range of the 2-hour binaries. There's the range of the 2-hour binaries. So when it spiked up, were the binaries down here cheap as dirt? Were probably everything cheap as dirt as it spiked through. Yeah, could you have gotten a couple of them? I mean, you could have got these probably for $5, right, to the downside. And then when they closed down here, how much would you have made each one? $95. So this is why I absolutely love huge news releases, right? I absolutely love huge news releases. And again, take advantage of those smaller time frames because we can get absolutely mega movement. And if you lost $5 on this, who cares? Do your risk to reward ratio on risking $5 to make 95. And again, if they were sitting up in here, right, even if they were in this range, because that's where price was when they printed at 9 o'clock, they were, let's see, that is at 23. You were so far past beyond, you would not have taken those off. You would have just let them roll all the way. Okay? So again, this is how you trade these things, guys. This is why news is such an amazing thing to trade. All right? All right, there's gold for you. There's silver. Silver was a little bit of a disappointment. I was hoping we get to the 28.12. We didn't. We got close and then pulled all the way back down again. Silver's basically in the same exact position. It's still stuck around the 27.41. Not much we can do there. Okay? If we get up to 28.12, still looking to take that one short. Okay, so let me pull across and let's go to Trading View. Trading View, oil, full featured. Actually, I think this one's probably up already. There we go. What I tell you guys yesterday was more bearish disposition, right? And I said we could have, some sticking points here, but this is where our profit target needed to be. What did it do? It tagged our profit target, came back up, grabbed some more, came right back down again. So numerous opportunities. Overall, we're still at that, basically the 43 level, kind of wedged in between those two. But how about that for, a profit target? Hit pretty much dead on, right? And again, I didn't feel that anything they mentioned, was going to really kind of drive us. We're sitting here right now. It's at the 13 candle. And again, the 13 candle is right here, right? We rallied up, we grabbed, and there you go. There's the PAL speed straight down, right? Yeah, hopefully some of you guys made some money. I mean, again, there were so many opportunities. There must have been 10, 12 different opportunities. It's too many trades for everybody to place at one time. But that was my assessment yesterday, that this would continue to push down based off a technical level. Again, targets needed to be at 42.53. That's exactly what we hit. Now it's just slightly lower, and I'd say it's kind of stabilizing itself. Again, it looks like it wants to retrace a little bit today. Personal spending up is good. That will be a little bit positive. Again, we're kind of at the mercy. There's no economic releases. We're really, at this point, at the mercy. I mean, Chicago PMI will help this a little bit. It's gonna really come back, and it's gonna boil back down to: is there a quote that mentions something about oil or demand or industry or teleworking or anything like that? I don't think there will be anything about stabilizing oil today, because I think oil is pretty much stabilized at this point. But again, there was giving us the kind of early morning. The early morning inclination that this thing was going to go down. Now it's giving us more kind of a, we're going to stabilize, we're going to base, we're kind of broadening out again. Again, there's some sellers up top. If it pushes a bit higher, I mean, I could see 43.30 today. I think it will have a little bit of a problem with this level here between 43.30 and 43.40, right? But again, ideally, I would love for this to rally. I really hope, if this can rally back up into the 43.55 range again, if we can get back up into here, yeah, I will be interested in taking a short position off of this, right? I'll be interested in taking something along those lines if we can rally back up to there today, going into next week. Don't know if that's what we will get, but here's hoping. Like I said, so many of the trades have already happened this morning. There'll be a couple of retracements early this morning, but after the yen, I think most people are pretty much done. All right. So that's what our assessment is. Remember, again, next chart school will be Monday morning. And actually, guys, update. Next week, I do not have a Nadex presentation on Tuesday. We're taking a week off. I guess Todd's going to take some vacation. He's the guy that I work with over there. So next week, Monday through Friday, will be 8 to 9 a.m. every day next week. So we'll see if we can get some more of those good opportunities. So with that said, let's go ahead and do the drawing. I'll give you guys, I got 6 of you in. I know I got more in the channel than this, but not everybody puts in. Exclamation point ticket gets you into the drawing. It gets you an additional 25 pip chips. 25 on the first, you get 100 for the second. And if you win 3 times in a row, you get 250. Mentor sessions start at 500 pip chips. By watching the channel, you guys get pip chips in the channel. If you are I don't think it's follow. I think subscribers. I think it's subscribers only. They get double pip chips. So every 10 minutes, you get 2. At 500, like Debbie redeemed some pip chips yesterday at the end. I have her mentor appointment next Tuesday. But it's a way, again, mentor sessions, we can talk about anything that you want. We can analyze charts. We can talk about market psychology, position sizing, where to get started. You don't know anything about Nadex and you want to add another, arrow to your quiver. We can talk about anything you want. They are typically slated for 30 minutes. I pretty much 99% of the time go over. I typically tend to do 45 to an hour just because we get talking and I get excited about it, and I'm here to help you guys learn. Also, let me pull something up real quick for you guys. Again, I'll give you guys about another minute to get into the channel. I want to bring something up real fast. I want to show you a message that I got sent yesterday from one of our regulars in the channel. I'm going to screenshot it because again, not that there's personal information in here or anything, but this came through yesterday. And again, people that watch the channel, it's always nice to kind of highlight people. Some of you may remember this person, right? You guys remember JTech? JTech is one of the guys that's been following the channel now. I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if I can make this any bigger. I don't think I can make this any bigger for you guys to see. But it's always nice. I can read it to you. I always like to highlight students. And this is a guy that he started watching the channel, I want to say like earlier this year. And again, he hit a huge milestone in his trading account yesterday. I just wanted to say thank you because you taught me a shit ton with your Twitch channel. You pretty much changed my life. So if you ever doubt what you're doing and don't think you're helping someone, know that it does. And again, he's gotten a lot of these levels and things like that just from the channel, right? But again, huge congrats to JTech. Yesterday, it's funny, after this, our discussion was basically how to do taxes, how to deal with capital gains. A pleasant surprise for him on that as well. But it's always great. I love to see, things like this from members that I've been able to be beneficial for them. So for some of you that are new to this and you guys are just getting into trading, or you're still the fledgling stages, hang around. Again, pull golden nuggets, try to get something new from every broadcast. And again, maybe you guys can be the next JTech in the channel and have your life changed by, something that we talk about here. All right. So with that said, I'm going to close the giveaway down. We'll see who the winner is today. Looks like our winner was not here, so this will be a fresh one today. All right, so the winner of today's drawing is Nadex. Wow. Cannot believe Nadex Ernest won. Congratulations, man. It's been like a month since you won. I feel like, you've been kind of, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you've taken off winning. So we'll give you your 25 pip chips, which means Ernest will go heavy tomorrow or on Monday. You guys will see Debbie wasn't number 2, but Debbie has redeemed her pip chips. She used 500 of them to get a mentor session. So we'll get that scheduled next week for her. All right. So guys, with that said, it looks like oil is trying to already. Warren must have listened. Uncle Warren listened to my play. I want to go higher so we can turn around and short this. Come on, Uncle Warren. Get me up there, baby. Get me up there. With that said, guys, even I'm rooting for him now. I know everybody feels bad for Ernest. All right, guys, with that said, I am out of here. I will be back on Monday morning for the pre-market on Monday from 8 to 9 a.m. For all the new people, welcome. I appreciate you guys coming out. If you guys have any questions next week, again, you're more than welcome to join the Discord channel. It's absolutely free. You guys can go ahead and join it, ask questions in there of other of our members. And with that said, you guys have a great weekend. Take care.